Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Atriox. We're back with another Mortal Kombat video. So I thought today we could do something a little bit different than we normally do, because we normally talk about Mortal Kombat 1 as a whole. But I thought, since my channel is still relatively new to Mortal Kombat, like we could talk about some stuff that I didn't get a chance to talk about in the past, because I was always covering Mortal Kombat 1 related stuff. But I kind of want to go back into the past a little bit and just talk about my top 10 favorite moments throughout Mortal Kombat 1, from the midway era all the way to the NRS era. And like, I was thinking initially doing one video for the good and the bad, but that would be way too long. So I decided to do it into two separate videos. Maybe I'll do this one today, and tomorrow we'll do the ones I didn't like. So this one here is going to be the top 10 moments in Mortal Kombat that I like. And this is including endings and the story as well. So I thought we could start off with the first one we're going to start off with is Mortal Kombat 4. Mortal Kombat 4, when Scorpion thought he had finally avenged his family and clan, only to realize that Sub-Zero wasn't the one who killed his family. And obviously the lore for this has kind of constantly changed throughout Mortal Kombat, whether it be Quan Chi disguises, that, they've been telling it kind of differently over and over again, because like, I feel like in certain depictions of it, they have Sub-Zero do it himself, and then they have, but I feel like the most constant one is definitely Quan Chi doing it. Obviously, it makes the most sense. He wanted Scorpion as a Spectre, and then he also wanted Sub-Zero to become his first race. All right, so let's go back, because we're gonna look at all the parts too. Like I'm gonna try not to make this video super long, but we're just gonna talk about each individual part.
By defeating you, Sub-Zero, I have avenged the death of my family and clan. Now my soul can finally rest.
Your soul will never rest, Scorpion. The Lin Kuei may have been responsible for your murder, but your family's true killer still remains free.
You see what I mean? Like in this initial midway era, like it was the Lin Kuei that had killed him, and not Quan Chi.
If you are not the murderer, then who is?
I am the one you seek. To defeat my nemesis Sub-Zero, I needed the power of a Spectre. You've done my bidding well, Scorpion. But now I must return you to the Netherrealm.
Never!
Never!
One thing I really liked about this ending too, towards the end of it, when he gets trapped into to another realm, and then you go into Deadly Alliance, it kind of continues from that point where Scorpion's chasing Quan Chi through another realm, trying to get him before he escapes into fighting the undefeatable Dragon King's army. That part, I've always liked the way how that transitioned into the next kind of thing. That's why I always, like, for me, it just felt like that was like the true ending of Mortal Kombat 4, just because like it transitioned to the intro of the next game. So the second one would be Kung Lao's ending. I like the idea of, after Liu Kang dying and passing up, like Kung Lao finally getting the limelight a little bit here, because especially when you consider the great Kung Lao was his ancestor. So, and him getting his get back for them killing Liu Kang. I always liked the ending of Kung Lao.
Rage fueled Kung Lao's thirst for revenge. The memory of holding his fellow monk's broken body on the late tie of the Wuxi Academy grounds consumed him as he rained blow after blow down upon Shang Tsung.
I always thought it was a good kind of like the way they did it in Mortal Kombat 9 as well, where Liu Kang did pretty much the same thing that Kung Lao's doing here, and it was just like he pretty much defeated Shao Kahn because he wanted revenge for killing his best friend. And like, this is basically a flip-flop from this initial ending from Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance.
Kung Lao had finally mastered the attack Bo Raicho had taught him. The sorcerer could not withstand his whirlwind assault. Shang Tsung begged for mercy. Kung Lao granted him none.
And what was another really cool thing about this ending too was the fact that Bo Raicho was training him. Obviously, being the master of Liu Kang, he taught I wouldn't call it the bicycle kick. The whirlwind kick is like it almost looks, for me, it was like the most closest thing you could get to the flying kick in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. So for me, I really like the ability that they gave him. I don't know why they never gave that back to him, bro. Like, I really liked Kung Lao's kit in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. I don't know why they never gave him back that whirlwind kick. That would have been cool to see in Mortal Kombat 1.
Upon his return to Earthrealm, Kung Lao stood before the modest shrine to Liu Kang, which had been erected by the Wuxi initiates during his absence in Outworld. He lit a stick of incense and placed it among the others already burning there. He bowed his head and prayed for safe passage to the afterlife for his friend and brother. With Shang Tsung's death, Liu Kang's spirit could rest peacefully. Earthrealm was safe once more, but at a terrible cost. The work of the White Lotus Society had become more important than ever.
What I really liked about this is probably doesn't have more particularly to do with the ending, but Kung Lao's character back then, he was more of a humble monk, and he wasn't like he was in MK9 going forward. They kind of like, in my opinion, butchered his personality throughout the earlier Mortal Kombat NRS games. I feel like they really just changed. Oh, sorry, I hit the mic. They really changed Kung Lao's personality a lot, because I think initially in the Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat 2, he was just a humble monk that had lived he lived with nature and stuff like that, and like he only got involved in the tournament because Liu Kang asked him to help, because he was more of a peace-loving monk than he was like a traditional monk type thing. He didn't really like to fight, and then, like, you know, they kind of changed his personality completely after in the NRS era, but that's kind of like what everything happened doing with the new storytellers. They kind of changed a bunch of characters' personalities, and personally, I don't think it was for the better. I like the original Kung Lao's personality. I think it meshed well with Liu Kang, and especially when you're Shaolin, I feel like a Shaolin would be, you know, more in control of their emotions and stuff like that. And I feel like they do a kind of a, it's just weird and how they made Kung Lao in Mortal Kombat 9. I feel like in the later games he's gotten, like, even like in Mortal Kombat X, I felt like that Kung Lao was the closest thing we got to the original Kung Lao, because he was a lot wiser, and then like he wasn't as egotistical, I feel like, you know, from what I remember anyways. But anyways, moving on to Mortal Kombat Deception. Personally, for me, you guys know I'm a big Hanzo Hasashi fan. That's like my favorite Mortal Kombat character outside of, like, you know, Liu Kang and Kung Lao. And I really like the ending for Mortal Kombat, the Deception for Scorpion, because, you know, they made him the Elder Gods champion after he was being tricked. I think it was in Deadly Alliance. I think in this one he actually became the Elder Gods champion. But even though he still kind of failed against Taven, I think, in the Conquest story.
The Elder Gods had transformed Scorpion into their weapon in order to defeat the Dragon King before his plans of domination unmade the realms. With his enhanced abilities, he tirelessly tracked Onaga through the realms until finally he cornered him in the Nexus. The Dragon King had many allies, but they were of no consequence. It was in fact Scorpion who was the true champion of the Elder Gods, the enforcer of their will. Only he could stop the menace that threatened all that exists. Only he could defeat the Dragon King.
Wow, it wasn't a canon ending. I just really loved the ending for Scorpion in the Deception, because it made him into like a really important figure in this particular ending. Like him being the Elder Gods champion is just fire. And then, like, especially when you consider the Deception, like the Conquest, that Shujinko had been tricked by Onaga the entire time, thinking he was the Elder Gods champion, when in reality, when you fought against him a few times in the story, he was actually the champion of the Elder Gods, which, if you really think about it, kind of makes no sense that he was able to defeat him, because Scorpion was enhanced by not only, you know, his Spectre abilities, but also by the Elder Gods themselves. And Shujinko was just enhanced by Onaga, which he's significantly weaker than the Elder God. So it should be it was a little interesting, you know. Obviously this is more of still plot stuff to keep the story going, so that's why it was able to happen. But if you look back at it, it's just a little weird, but it's just what it is. Okay, so the next one we have is I I really liked it. Okay, so Mortal Kombat 9, there was a lot of points in this story that I actually did like, but I try to pick just a few of them because like I had this one right here where Kitana and Liu Kang meet up for the first time, and I really like the interaction between the two of them because I always felt like you know, in the from Mortal Kombat up to the NRS era, like they always hinted about Kitana and Liu Kang's relationship, even in Mortal Kombat 4 and in the movie and stuff like that. So, but this is like I felt like the first time they really dove into that in the story aspect of it, because even like what was it, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, Deadly Alliance, when you beat the game with Kitana, she says like a prayer for Liu Kang and stuff like that, and just wish that he became the king that she asked him to be. But like they never really attacked it, I felt like, in the story, and I feel like Mortal Kombat 9 was really the first game they actually decided to, you know, go for that kind of method. So we can probably just skip to the point where he's training here. It kind of reminds me of the Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance where he's like doing his little practices.
Remember Boraicho's teachings. For my vision to be realized, you must not let emotion overpower you.
Your visions, what causes them?
My future self sent them to me, perhaps to ensure some outcome.
Or to prevent one.
He must win.
He must win. Those are my last words before I die. I believe it is you who must win. This amulet was forged by the Elder Gods. It cracked here in the present after my first vision. If we choose wisely, the future will be secured and the cracks healed.
I trust you will make the right decisions.
We must trust in the Elder Gods, Liu Kang.
Just kick the hell out of her in the butt.
You're good. Show me more.
You see, like his personality is so vastly different in MK9 too, which I thought was really interesting. The approach they took with Liu Kang, because Liu Kang was more like I feel like his personality in MK9 was very fiery. You know what I mean? Like it was a lot more than like, you know, we normally saw from Liu Kang. Liu Kang was more of a humble character, but in this one, his ego kind of seeps out a little bit in the throughout the story, which was I thought was always a really interesting take on his character. And even in this fight where he's kind of like taunting Kitana to keep fighting him, and then like Kitana's getting frustrated with the way that he's talking to her, and like she's there to assassinate him, and he's making it like a joke pretty much, so she's kind of like getting a little annoyed with it.
Underestimate me, Shaolin.
Round 1. Fight!
Okay, we're gonna skip the actual fight here. The whole video is just the fight. All right, here we go.
I am impressed.
Do it.
Do what?
Kill me.
I want
Why
to do
would I
that.
do that?
I came to kill you. I have failed my father, my emperor.
Shao Kahn is your father?
I have disgraced him. You must kill me.
I will not. This encounter never took place. You have disgraced no one.
I like this too because this kind of like led to Kitana finding out about Shao Kahn, because we always saw it from the point where Kitana was already like mad at Shao Kahn. You didn't see what led up to that point, but like her interaction with Liu Kang and then Raiden kind of like led her down the path of where she was supposed to eventually go through. So I really like the storytelling at this point of Mortal Kombat.
I hope we meet again under different circumstances.
I really like this line here in particular. I just hate that they gave that to Raiden in Mortal Kombat 1. Like, personally for me, I get they were trying to call back to that moment, but it's just like, bro, it's not the same thing. Like, it's a different character. It doesn't make sense. And like, you know, I like that interaction for Liu Kang and Kitana, because the story's always been about, you know, they have like that Romeo and Juliet type of like kind of story going on throughout Mortal Kombat. where like they both, you know, they shouldn't be together, but they can't help it. So I really like that aspect of it. So continuing from kind of like from that point, was this point here where Liu Kang really started to change, and all the decisions Raiden was making was kind of like leading to horrible choices and was getting everyone killed because he didn't figure out quick enough that it was supposed to be Shao Kahn must win in order for him to be defeated, but he didn't get it till it was too late, and it caused a rift between him and Liu Kang, and then also it caused the deaths of all the Earthrealm warriors and Outworld warriors outside of like Johnny Cage, and then again Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade. So I kind of like that the other gods here were kind of like also like, you know, he hasn't violated the whole fight, the whole like basically he hasn't violated the rules of Mortal Kombat because he hasn't completely overtaken it. So even though his forces were invading, it wasn't like he hadn't broken the rules yet. So I always thought it was an interesting kind of like thing.
Is in danger. We are aware of your plight, Raiden. Then you must intervene on Earthrealm's behalf.
We cannot.
But Shao Kahn, Liu Kang has bested him twice, yet he still...
Shao Kahn has not violated the rules of Mortal Kombat.
What? He invades Earthrealm as we speak.
Invasion is not itself a transgression. It is the merger of realms that is prescribed.
Right.
A distinction without a difference. Innocents are dying at the hands of Outworld.
It is regrettable, but the Mortal Kombat tournaments are not intended to prevent certain outcomes. They are intended only to maintain balance among the realms.
Please, you must.
We have spoken.
And what's interesting too about this is that like none of these characters look like Cetrion. But anyways, that's not important. But yeah, like this basically saying that Shao Kahn didn't violate the rules of Mortal Kombat. So, and then Raiden decides to go to hell in order to do that. And so Liu Kang's just like dude, Raiden was so desperate to prevent this outcome that he caused the deaths of everyone, right? So as they're going back to where everyone is to try and formulate a new plan, he sees everyone's pretty much dead outside of Nightwolf, Sonya, and Johnny Cage, but Nightwolf's about to sacrifice himself to destroy Sindel finally.
Do you know what's really fun? Making a website on Wix.
What was interesting about Mortal Kombat 9 too is how much they buffed Sindel. The fact that she was able to defeat 10 plus warriors who like are all champions in their own respective right, and champions like obviously all have the potential to become, you know, the grand champion. So the fact that she was able to defeat all of them with just a boost of Shang Tsung's power seems a bit weird in terms of like the storytelling of how everything happened, but you know, I guess they wanted to give her a bigger role in this. I don't know, like I never really understood why they made Sindel so strong, because like even in the later games they made it seem like Sindel could fight an Elder God when she's in a, I mean, I guess like isn't there like some points where they say Edenians like kind of hail from, you know, gods or something like that, like they're like descendants from gods, so maybe that could be the reason why they kind of went that route. I don't know, bro. I felt like in the original Mortal Kombat, like Edenians were just long life characters versus what they became in Mortal Kombat 9 going forward. They kind of really changed the lore of what the Edenians were. So I don't know, it's a little bit different. I don't even remember if the older games even talked about that. I felt like they might have, but I don't know. I'd have to really go back into the lore and just like really just check it out again, because I think it might have been something like that. Because I mean, you always had like what's his name, Rain, who was also half god. So I don't know. I'd have to go back and look, but off the top of my head, I don't really remember if they were like that. I just know in the newer games they kind of like. Well, it wasn't even just like all the Edenians, it was just mainly Sindel. Sindel was like the main one that they considered to have like this power on par with the Elder God, which I thought was a little interesting. Because even if you hail from the descendant of gods, it's a little weird that you're able to fight an Elder God, because like Elder God is way stronger than a regular god, so it's just weird, bro.
Fine, shaman.
I take it from you.
By the Elder Gods.
That dark part of Mortal Kombat, I miss it, man. Missing Mortal Kombat was dark.
Kitana.
Liu Kang. You were right. I wish we had met. Under different circumstances.
Kitana.
That was such a messed up moment. I remember watching this and be so mad.
They are dead.
Okay.
We abandoned them. And they're dead.
My heart too is heavy with their sacrifice.
Their deaths achieve nothing.
See, I feel like if it was at this moment with Kitana dying and all his friends dying was when Liu Kang was just like he started having enough of like kind of Raiden's like kind of shit. And you know, like this is like the turning point. And like I feel like in the past Liu Kang would have never turned against Raiden in the older games. I feel like this just happened because of I think I don't know, I kind of felt like they wanted to make Liu Kang more edgy in this game. I kind of felt like that was the route they took with it, because like I said, throughout this entire Mortal Kombat 9 campaign, like Liu Kang had a more of a fiery, more egotistical kind of like personality compared to like the previous iterations of him. Like I felt like they wanted to give him some more spice and make him not just a really bland kind of protagonist that he kind of was in the previous games. He was just like a knockoff of Bruce Lee. That's basically what Liu Kang was, but they wanted to give him some personality in this game, I felt like.
What is next, Raiden? Tell me the future. How do we honor their sacrifice?
I climbed to heaven. Now I must plunge into the depths. I will go to Quan Chi, ally our realm with his against the forces of Outworld.
What? Grovel before Quan Chi? What will he demand? What price will be paid?
Would any price be too high to save Earthrealm?
I had prayed it not true, but you have gone mad, Raiden. Your visions, they are nothing. Delusions of an addled mind.
Liu Kang, please.
Enough. I must help the wounded. Leave on your hopeless quest.
I really like the way that they did Liu Kang at this particular moment in the cutscene too, because I felt like it gave a lot more depth to Liu Kang's character, especially when that whole point where he's like Quan Chi. Like I really liked the way he said Quan Chi's name at that part. I thought it always sounded like really cool. And then like then he gets more like into a more like saddened state, like he knows like his master, he like in his head, his master has just completely lost his mind, and like all his decisions have just kind of led to the deaths of his friends, and he's kind of like lost the respect for Raiden that he's always had. And I think they kind of rectified that in the later games, but it was an interesting thing to see nonetheless. So I think, okay, so now we're moving on to Mortal Kombat X, right? So Mortal Kombat X for me was, I really loved this scene for Hanzo Hasashi, him finally being able to get revenge for everything that happened throughout Mortal Kombat, or from basically from when he became Scorpion all the way to this point in MKX, where he was so blinded by his revenge, even though he had finally got respect back for the Shiryu from the Special Forces, and he kind of like squandered it for this. And honestly, like I really just like the arc of him like still keeping that sole purpose of wanting to get revenge for his family and his clan.
Unbind him.
Scorpion Eye.
We can.
Such a fire line right here.
My name is Hanzo Hasashi! You killed my wife.
my son. And then you burrowed your way into my head, misdirected my vengeance, cost me my one chance to have them restored!
Your family,
Ah! Quiet, sorcerer. Nothing can help you now.
That was such a cold scene, bro. That was such a cold scene. Like, they really did that. Like, they really upped that.
At last, you feel my pain.
He just continually beats his ass.
Scorpion, stop! Punchy!
You know what really pisses me off about this scene in particular? At MK11, he gets killed by the same pincer that he just got stabbed with MKS and nothing happened to him back then. Like, I don't know. And especially when you think Scorpion cannot die, he's still a Hellspawn. Like, he's not a human anymore. So the fact that he somehow dies at MK11 doesn't make sense to me. Like, it's like he would just come back. Like, they never made him back into being a human, or else he wouldn't have his Hellfire abilities. So I don't know. Like, certain things about MK11's kind of plot holes are a little annoying, but you know, they did it for the progressing the story, even though Scorpion can't really die. Amulet. Get over here.
Get over here!
Why did Scorpion wait right here? He should have just chopped his head off immediately. Ooh. Nasty. Your
blood
debt.
for blood.
Your debt is paid. Such a fire line. And like, honestly, like, obviously this led to the resurrection of Shinnok, which he feels really bad for, which I kind of really liked his ending here when he's kind of talking about you know, how he felt about kind of his part in resurrecting Shinnok.
Remorse for his role in resurrecting Shinnok weighed heavily upon Scorpion's soul. His desire for vengeance had brought Earthrealm to the brink of destruction.
Right.
Scorpion offered to perform harakiri to atone for his offense. But Raiden suggested a more productive alternative. Instead of death, Raiden sentenced Scorpion to life. He imbued Scorpion with a small portion of the Jinsei's power, linking him to Earthrealm's essence. Scorpion and his Shirai Ryu clan would protect the Jinsei and Earthrealm forever.
Which is cool because this is also like a kind of it kind of implies, shows like in the future games he's gonna be a protector of Earth. So even though he was already in that MKS, like he worked a lot more closely with the special forces in MK11. Obviously through the war. I don't even know what they would call that. We would call it the New Era War. I don't know what the hell they call it. But anyways, I really liked going forward after that, having this scene where Sub-Zero and Scorpion kind of finally hash it out and just like talk about what happened, the two clans, and just kind of make peace, you know what I mean? I really like the idea of this because I felt like, you know, I always felt like it was eventually gonna happen just because of the way that what happened with Quan Chi, in terms of like how it wasn't really Sub-Zero's fault in this particular timeline.
Master Hasashi, I am grateful that you've come.
Speak your mind. I do not wish to linger here.
You re-establish the Shirai Ryu, as I reform the Lin Kuei. We both seek to shed our clan's dark pasts, dedicate them to Earthrealm's protection. Our common purpose gives us a chance to end old rivalries, to start anew.
You'll confess what you've long denied? That your clan's hands are soaked in Shirai Ryu blood? In the blood of my family?
Our honor is indeed stained.
Right.
Please, sit. After you and I were freed from Quan Chi's control, I sought out my clan. I had hoped rebellion from within would have quashed the Grandmaster's plans. But Sector had realized his father's vision. The Lin Kuei had been fully cyberized. I pledged to kill Sector and his followers, reform the Lin Kuei, and restore our honor.
I am not interested in Lin Kuei politics,
Right.
Sub-Zero.
When I finally killed Sector, I discovered the Lin Kuei had not sacrificed its honor with the Cyber Initiative.
I had been gone way before
we had
that.
abandoned it long before.
I really like how in this part of the story it kind of shows like, you know, kind of a flashback to mythology's kind of like era where like they were working with the Lin Kuei in order to destroy the Shirai. It would have been cool if they showed the Grandmaster of the Lin Kuei during that as well. It just kind of showed. I mean, I guess at that point, Sector was the Grandmaster, so in a way, I guess it kind of did that.
There will be no peace, Scorpion!
Frost, the Lin Kuei are still without honor.
She's
Master
so weak.
Hasashi, wait!
For what? More treachery? I will have your head! Our story ends here, Sub-Zero.
Oh, he's so confused. He's like, what the hell is going on?
What is this?
I did not bring you here for treachery. Frost is strong, but lacks judgment. She cannot see the wisdom of peace. I will deal with her.
You spoke of the Lin Kuei's lost honor.
For years, I had thought you had unfairly blamed the Lin Kuei for the deaths of your family and clan. But Sector's cyber-preserved memories revealed the truth.
The Lin Kuei need to abide their agreements, Sector. The Grand Master gave Shinnok his word.
Shinnok's currency is lies, as is yours.
Payment is due. I exterminated the Shirai Ryu as promised.
Hanzo Hasashi lives. He's your Spectre, Scorpion.
I created Scorpion from Hasashi's soul after he died. We observed the agreement.
The letter, not the spirit. You are owed nothing.
Harumi. Satoshi.
Had I known of my clan's complicity in the Shirai Ryu's extinction, our history would be different.
I killed your brother because I thought he...
Quan Chi is responsible for Bihan's death.
Sector was wrong.
There is a debt to be paid.
There is a debt to be paid. And Quan Chi will pay it.
I also really like the way they did this part too, because this is like almost like how in Mortal Kombat 4, this is like a kind of a Mortal Kombat 4 inspired type of a scene, because it showcased how Quan Chi was the one that killed his family clan. It's kind of like similar to how Mortal Kombat 4 Scorpion Ending is, which I really like. That's why I put this one in here. Okay, so I had to stop the recording earlier because I had to go to work, and I kind of ran out of time. I didn't think it was going to take that long to do this, but you know, since we're talking about each kind of moment and like showing some video of it, it's going to take a little bit longer. But Anyways, so the next moment, which was, this would be number 6. I feel like I haven't been counting down for you guys, but it's fine, you know. So this probably was one of my favorite moments in Mortal Kombat in the most recent game. So probably like how they've made the fire and ice thing kind of work in like MKX and MK11. I feel like MK11 probably showcases it the most, because like even like this little scene here that I'm about to show you guys, where it's kind of like a little funny banter, kind of like a little banter between Sub-Zero and Scorpion talking about old age. So let's just check it out so you guys can see what I'm talking about.
Your hearing is failing, Sub-Zero.
I recognized your footsteps, Hanzo.
Where's...
This is like, for me, I thought this was so funny when I first saw it, bro. And I actually really enjoyed this scene because like it showed how different their relationship had become since MKX, when Scorpion was like literally about to kill him if not for Frost interrupting him. And to get to the point now where they're like taking little funny jabs at each other. This was actually a really cool story, kind of like storytelling type thing. I feel like with MK11's story, they had a lot of good parts, but then like there was a bunch of plot holes type things that I wasn't a huge fan of. Overall, I think the story was good enough for what they were trying to present in it. But yeah, this is actually really cool. And then like I liked really how they worked together during the whole fight with Cyrax and then Sector. I thought the entire way that part was mapped out with the two of them working together was actually really cool. And if you think about it, a lot of the partners in Mortal Kombat 11 kind of had like rivalries, or like they had some kind of connection to each other, where like in the past maybe they don't work together. I think outside of like probably Liu Kang and Kung Lao, they've always worked together. But like seeing certain pairings kind of work together, like Fujin and Nightwolf, and we got Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Just off the top of my head, I could think of. I'm sure there's a few more other team ups I can't think right now. But I really just enjoyed the kind of banter they did together, and then even when they're working together, they worked so smoothly together.
I will not let him threaten my clan again.
The old Cyber Lin Kuei factory was defunct, buried beneath this quarry, until the time disruption. Now, Sector's returned and reactivated it. He's building an army by processing Lin Kuei warriors kidnapped from my temple.
I can see why you need me.
We could enter through that tunnel, but a frontal assault would be
bloody,
needless.
I really I like this part too, because like Scorpion wants to go through there, you know, he wants to fight, and like Sub-Zero's like he's like, you know, like we're gonna go in there, we're gonna fight, and it's gonna be bloody, which I would have loved. That a frontal assault would have been cool if they would have made that like almost like a Shaolin Monks type of mode, where it's like a hack and slash type thing. That would have been cool, but I mean, I doubt they would ever. You know what, that would be so cool if they mixed a little bit of like kind of like conquest in with the regular story mode with certain parts. Like that could be so cool to watch. Anyways, you know, let's keep going. But I just really like this part where they kind of like just talk the way that Scorpion and Sub-Zero was. Is like a Scorpion still has like his whole power is anger and stuff like that. So for him, like he'd rather just do things the hard way than the easy way, versus like Sub-Zero, who's more about like, okay, let's not go that route because we don't want to draw too much attention. We want to get in and get out.
It's dangerous. There's another entrance, less populated.
And the rest of your plan?
We get help on the inside.
But yeah, this probably like this, honestly, out of a lot of the missions in Mortal Kombat 11, I think this mission was probably my favorite. And like maybe I'll even do a video where I talk about like my favorite, like kind of like my favorite things about Mortal Kombat 11 story. Like I said, I haven't done it before. I haven't done any like, I guess you would say like kind of covering of like the story mode of that. Even with Mortal Kombat 1, I don't know. Let me know if that's something you guys would be interested in seeing. But like this was like definitely like one of my top favorite moments in Mortal Kombat. Just Mortal Kombat in general, because I really like the idea of Scorpion and Sub-Zero working together as allies. after like the misunderstanding with how things had ended with Bihan. So going on to the next one, number 7. This was like probably one of my favorite parts of MK11 was the refocusing of Liu Kang becoming the kind of focus again, because I feel like a lot of the times, like obviously Deadly Alliance, they took him out of the frame and he wasn't the focus. From MK Deadly Alliance, MK Deception, and MK Armageddon, all those games he wasn't the focus. And then Mortal Kombat 9, they brought it back but then killed him instantly, and then they try to refocus what was going on to Cassie and make Cassie the focus of it. So for me, like, it felt like most of the most recent games, they just keep taking Liu Kang out of the focus of being the chosen one and being the champion of Mortal Kombat. For me, like, Liu Kang is the story of Mortal Kombat is the story of the grand champion, which is Liu Kang, and him defending Earthrealm. That's like, it just kind of goes hand in hand. And the fact that he was taken out of that role for so long, and the way they changed his character in MK9 to be more fiery, and like, he was like a different character. So when MK11 came out and Liu Kang kind of went back to the old Liu Kang, where he didn't have that fiery, aggressive, like egotistical kind of like personality that he had in Mortal Kombat 9. He was back to being the normal Liu Kang, where he was more humble and he listened to Raiden. But I mean, there was a part in it that where he, like this part right here, where he and Raiden were pretty much throwing hands because Raiden couldn't see because he had the Shinnok amulet, which was clouding his judgment. I really like this part, and then the whole cutscene with them fighting all the timelines. But no, it was kind of a weird, like, this is one of the things that I found weird about Mortal Kombat 11 in terms of like changing certain stories to fit MK11's plot, which was basically this Liu Kang and Raiden always fighting with each other, because this is like the first we've heard of it throughout the time. So I mean, well, technically I guess that wouldn't be true, because in Armageddon, the ending of Armageddon for Liu Kang was that he had to fight a corrupt Raiden, then he became the champion, the god of Earthrealm, a protector of Earthrealm.
My future self is dead. I am here at his behest.
Grandmaster Hasashi sent you.
I honor his dying wish. Karan will ferry your armies to the Isle of Kronika. We must leave at once.
Do you have proof of Karan's offer?
Only my word.
Your word is worthless. At the tournament, I trusted you to spare Bihan, and you betrayed me.
A mistake born of rage. I seek redemption.
Lie, Scorpion! You are a slave, and Kronika is your master!
Fight.
So, we're just skip ahead a little bit here. We get to the point where they were actually fighting. We're here. Okay, right here. You must listen.
Raiden, you must listen.
Spout your falsehoods elsewhere, Scorpion! Kronika will not entrap us.
It is no trap. Karan awaits you in the Netherrealm.
Lord Raiden, we should listen. He may be telling the truth.
There is only one way to find out. Now, Scorpion, the truth!
Raiden, stop this!
Step aside, Liu Kang.
Put down the amulet. Its darkness is taking hold of you.
Our time has run out. I do what I must to save Earthrealm. Stay down.
This is not the way. Scorpion is not the enemy this time.
What I liked about this scene too, because it kind of draws parallels to, like, I felt like Mortal Kombat 9's kind of like ending of the story where Liu Kang and Raiden had to fight each other. But what I like in this time is that, like, even though in this time it was more of the corruption of Raiden that kind of led to their little fight here, because, you know, he held the amulet too long. Instead of having it, the most safest place was for Raiden to have it, honestly, because like the way that they kind of broke in and took it with Melina's Melina in that world, it made sense to have Raiden carry, but at the same time it also like corrupts Raiden. So I really like the kind of dynamic they told here, and like the whole story, like I really liked how they kind of centered you know, it's centered around Liu Kang. Even throughout the entire story, even with Chronica and Raiden was talking, it's like we have to keep you and Liu Kang separated because the combined powers of the two of you together threatens my vision for the timeline. Which, when you really think about it, it's kind of a little weird to see how a demigod and a mortal would threaten someone who's above in power to all the other gods into one being. So it's a little interesting with that dynamic. So I kind of want to I really would like to see this whole cutscene here. Like, okay, let's skip ahead a little bit.
Liu Kang, do not interfere.
Fight!
Now, Scorpion, the truth!
Raiden, stop this!
Step aside, Liu Kang.
Put down the amp.
I demand obedience!
That was cool too. I really liked how they transitioned from the good Raiden into the corrupt Raiden with the red lightning, and then like they kind of this is like a kind of a callback to Mortal Kombat 9, where if enough of your madness, if you must die, then so be it. It's like I love how they showcase the ending.
If you must die, so be it.
This has happened before. Not interfere. You cannot fight Shao Kahn. Liu Kang, stop!
Enough of your madness. If you must die, so be it.
This was such a fire cutscene. We might have to watch it. I'm sorry. I like how they showcase all the different fights through all. It kind of looks like all the maps from across the timelines outside. Like, I don't think we saw any Deception or Deadly Alliance maps, but like we saw this was the MK9 the train map. The Shang Tsung, it transitioned from Shang Tsung's Soul Natal area up back to the pyramid at the end of Mortal Kombat Armageddon here. The transition of this was so fire. And then we had they went even back to they brought it back to the pool, and then they also brought it back to the Mortal Kombat. Damn, I can't catch it so fast. It's so fast. Here, okay, so they brought us back. Obviously, this is the crypt area, but basically they brought us back to MK1 with the MK1 costume, kind of going here. This part was very cool to me because I really like how they kind of went through the entire Mortal Kombat, like kind of places, and they kind of pushed this thing into kind of like where it is, because like obviously, you know, before this game, and they never had like a conversation between Raiden and Liu Kang. I just like how they did that part, and like the whole story of Mortal Kombat 11. I really like that they made Liu Kang the focus. That's kind of like the whole point of this little part right here. I thought it was just really awesome, bro. And then you especially see that where is it? It's in this one, right here. So how further along is this? Liu Kang. Okay, yeah. So we'll just go on this part here, because like I really like this is gonna continue on from my point about Liu Kang being the focus of Mortal Kombat 11 again. I like this part here because it shows the connection between Liu Kang and Raiden, and like that kind of master sensei. I really wish they had more of that in Mortal Kombat. I feel like we just see the the fully trained part of Liu Kang. We never get to see that. We don't really get to see a whole lot of of that Master Sensei type of vibe, which I really wish they would have did more of, because I'm really a fan of that. Okay, let's just skip this part. This moment here, it's probably one of my favorite ones, and MK11 for sure.
Earthrealm's Jinsei flows within you. Let it fuel.
This shit was so hype when I first saw it. My boy was 3v1ing all three. Nah, the way he did Jay was crazy in this part, bro. Nah, the way he did Jade in that part was filthy, bro. I really like that scene because this really just showcases, like, with Liu Kang unlocking his full potential, and with the power of Raiden and the power of the Jinsei kind of fueling his fire. It just showed, like, what he could be. Like, I feel like this is like one of Liu Kang's best kind of feats outside of like defeating Shao Kahn and Shang Tsung. Like, I really liked how they showcased this part here, with like showing how much, you know, how strong he really was, even in going against 3v1 with Jade, Kitana, and Kung Lao. I really like that part. So moving away from the point of Liu Kang being the focus of MK11, another really good thing I liked about I guess this would be MKS and MK11 kind of together, because this is the same point, is the way Johnny Cage the way they did Johnny Cage's story in Mortal Kombat S and Mortal Kombat 11. I really like the growth of Johnny Cage. He didn't completely lose that jokester side of him, but you see the progress in like his personality, even, like, especially with this part right here, because you get a glimpse of the old Johnny Cage with him kind of like talking about tapping Sonya at the earliest possible moment, and then you have Johnny Cage just like being annoyed with himself. You know what I mean?
So, a married lieutenant princess over there. Always had a thing for blondes. Ever since Susie DiNardo Junior year. Take it from me, you didn't miss much. That woman over there, she's the real deal.
Oh, I got eyes, brother. As younger you, I saw him. You swear to tap that at the earliest opportunity.
Oh God, young Johnny's hilarious. This cannot read the room.
What? It's our destiny.
Johnny just being annoyed by it made it so much better.
How the hell do I ever sleep with that guy? Who's your father? I can't believe I just said that.
Look, my dad isn't the Johnny you know. He grew up. I like to think you rubbed off on him. As a kid, I looked up to both of you.
My dad? Your grand...
See, I really like the how they did things here. Let me see them skip ahead to there we go. Here we go.
We're under attack! Repeat, we're under attack!
Yippee-ki-yay, right?
Oh, I skipped ahead. Oh, here we go.
This. Untwist your panties, older me. I'm a star. This is a military operation, not a movie set. I'm only the best fighter here, but your daughter's got me sitting at the kids' table. Our daughter is CO. A little humility might earn her respect. Dad always said, hungry people eat lunch, humble people serve it. dad was an asshole. Hollywood made us an even bigger one.
This is such a cool moment.
Yeah!
Fight!
An old man just kicked your ass.
Lucky.
Get lucky.
This is like honestly like one of my favorite moments in Mortal Kombat 11 was seeing like that interaction between Johnny Cage and older Johnny Cage, because like it just showed how much he grew from Mortal Kombat 9 to like MK11 at that point. Because like obviously it's been what was the difference in MK11 MK I think was it like 2 years or something like that? Was it 2 or 3 years? It's some I know it wasn't a crazy long time, because like MK from MK9 to MKS was like 25 years or something like that. So like it's given like almost like probably like almost 30 years in total, like of time for Johnny Cage to pretty much just grow as a fighter and as a person. I really like that aspect of Johnny Cage in MK11. So I thought we should include some MK1 stuff that I did like, and personally, like I think a lot of people like this, the changing of Sindel back into being a good guy. But you know, every time they make Sindel a good guy, she dies. She doesn't stay alive, and I don't know why they do this, because it's the same thing with Kung Lao. They always end up killing Kung Lao and Sindel. Like, those are like their favorite two characters to kill off over and over again. I don't know why that is. I felt like doing something different this time around could have been different. Could have made it feel more significant of the impact. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, like every time Sindel dies or Kung Lao dies, it doesn't do anything for me, bro. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, like I don't feel anything, because I've seen it before. You know what I mean? Like we've seen it so many times of these two characters just dying over and over again. Now if it was like someone like Johnny Cage, or possibly Kitana, Sonya. Well, we seen Kitana die before too, but like a character that we haven't seen die before, like it would have been like the impact would be more because we haven't seen it before. You know what I mean? And it's like I don't know like why NRS just chooses to kill the same couple of characters. You know what I mean?
To indulge in such depravity, for General Shao to condone it. They are not the men I thought them.
Despite my best efforts, neither man nor Quan Chi are who they were meant to be.
They're not your responsibility. They're outworlders.
But it is I who crafted their destinies, along with those of all other beings, at the dawn of history.
You created the realms. Is your mind addled, demigod?
I am a mere demigod now, but eons ago, I was more powerful than all of the Elder Gods combined. I was a Titan, and the Keeper of Time. This is Geras.
Your Majesty, Your Highnesses.
Geras is the guardian of the Hourglass, a celestial object which lies beyond the realms. The Hourglass regulates time and destiny. When I wielded its power, it was upon me to craft all of existence, which I did when I restarted history.
Restarted?
This timeline was preceded by billions more. Though this is the first of Liu Kang's design, the others were designed by his predecessor. Kronika was obsessed with equalizing good and evil.
Yep.
When a timeline veered too far to one or the other, she would halt it and restart history, tinkering with lives and events in the hope of achieving her golden balance.
Prior timelines, Kronika gave Shang Tsung and Quan Chi mastery of the most vile magics.
Yep.
Shao was not a general, a tyrannical ruler bent on conquest. You, Sindel, were his ruthless wife, who would do anything to preserve your privilege.
Which isn't true. Only one timeline that existed, and that was the MK NRS's second timeline. Because in the original timeline, she fought against him. But I just want to clarify that because obviously it did this to make the change of Sindel, make sense.
When I took the hourglass from Kronika, I vowed to do better. So in this timeline, the sorcerers would not gain their dark powers. Shao would be your loyal follower, and you would rule Outworld firmly, but fairly.
But someone has interfered with Liu Kang's design. Shao, Shang Tsung, Quan Chi, all have been groomed by an unknown entity to be the villains they were in previous timelines.
Where to begin? Am I to kneel to my creator?
No.
Do you expect worship?
No, Your Majesty. My prior role was thrust upon me by circumstance. I am in no way divine.
You had power over all of creation, yet you gave it up.
Because I saw how it drove Kronika mad. I knew I would fare no better had I kept it.
So I kind of like how he obviously everyone who hated the change of Sindel going to be the bad guy. I never really liked that idea. I don't know why NRS pulled the trigger there. I guess they were trying to be different. Because Mortal Kombat always tries to do something different each time, but you don't need to. I know I'm not gonna rant about the story. I've done that in previous videos a lot. So we'll move on to the next point. So I think the next point is the final thing, which is gonna be the reunion of Kitana and Liu Kang. Probably my favorite moment in Mortal Kombat because of just being a point where they finally embrace each other. I really like this because they've always built. I felt like it's always been built since Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, and I hated the way they showed Kitana and Liu Kang throughout the story of MK1 outside of the Titan ones, because he just seems like he doesn't even have any kind of feelings towards Kitana, even though it's obviously not the Kitana that he met and grew up with. So I kind of get that point of view, but for him to not have any type of interaction or stumble or anything, it always felt weird to me. I didn't really care too much about that. And honestly, personally, Kitana in the MK1 story is just such a non-factor character. She's such a side character. It's not even funny. If I could sit there and think about moments, the moment was when they were sitting down eating, Johnny Cage and her talking, and there's not that many moments in the story that I can think of off the top of my head where I felt like Kitana had a big impact outside of her becoming a general and stuff like that of the Outworld army.
Are you ready to begin the search?
Ready enough. May there be other timelines and titans to find.
This was such a cool moment.
Garrus? Liu Kang?
Easy, Kitana. You are among friends.
What's happened? Where am I?
A long way from home. In a different timeline, to be precise.
What? Are you also
a keeper of time? Yes.
Both of us? How is that possible?
I want to make a point here about this scene as well. Kitana never gave up her powers to be a keeper of time. As you can see the way she's dressed, Liu Kang is the only person who gave up his ability to be keeper of time. When you look at all the other characters, they've all kept their role as keeper of time, which I thought was interesting. I think Liu Kang must have seen something that he thought he couldn't handle the powers of a keeper of time, so maybe that's why he gave up his thing. But the rest of them, they didn't. They kept control of the hourglass. So I thought that was a really interesting thing that I wanted to kind of point out here, because I guess Liu Kang is the most humblest of all, but without someone to control the hourglass, you know, it would just be one single timeline. Whether it would veer too, if it veered too much to good or too much to evil, there would be no one to stop it. And I don't think that Garrus has permission to directly intervene if something were to happen. I think he would still have to go to Liu Kang, so he's Keeper of Time, but without the power of the Keeper of Time, if that makes sense.
The battle for Chronica's hourglass ripped apart time's fabric. Where there once was one timeline, there are now many. Each new timeline represents a different possible outcome of that battle. In mine, I became Time's Keeper. In yours, it was you. In others, it could be Jade, Sindel, even Kano. The possibilities are endless.
If many timelines sprung from one, and we were both part of it, then you are my Liu Kang.
The same one who battled you in Shang Tsung's courtyard, who fought at your side at the Colosseum, who beamed with pride when you became Outworld's Khan.
The first time they ever embraced each other. It took them long enough, dude. And the thing I hate, the reason why I strongly dislike the aspect of the Kitana story in MK1 with Liu Kang is because, like, I feel like MK11 did such a good job with building up these relationships with certain characters, and like MK1 kind of tore that down and like kind of restarted everything. So I don't know, bro. Hold on. So I don't know. MK1 story kind of just irks my nerves. So, like, you got the Johnny Cage being a jerk again. Like, I felt like all the growth in MK11 was kind of like, there was kind of like no point at the end of the day after they restarted the timeline. But like, I really liked this part here where it kind of showed like Liu Kang still having that same kind of feelings towards Kitana, even though like the one that he interacts with in the story, obviously it's not his, but there's like no real interaction there. And then like they kind of also prove further about the Kung Lao thing. Oh, like the Kung Lao and Raiden not giving up their abilities or the Keeper of Time powers. Skip this ahead, right? So they all dress like the
yes, Kung Lao.
All the Keepers of Time. They're like, none of them gave up their thing besides Liu Kang. Especially Raiden. You would think Raiden would give up his powers because, come on, we've seen corrupt Raiden mad times. But yeah, those are like kind of like my top 10 the top 10 moments that I could think of off the top of my head where not even top of my head, but like these are the top moments I could think of that I actually really enjoyed throughout Mortal Kombat. And I'll do the negative ones too. I don't know how long it's gonna be though, because this video is long. This is a really long video. I didn't think it was gonna be this long, but at the end of the day, I thought it was, you know, I thought it would be a good idea to just kind of showcase like what I think of like my top 10 moments. Like, if you guys have a different top 10 moment, let me know in the comment section below, and we'll talk about it. But anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for this one. Like I said, I just want to do something a little bit different than what we normally do with this channel. We kind of just always talk about Mortal Kombat 1, but there's so many other Mortal Kombat games that I do enjoy talking about, and maybe we'll even play some older ones. We'll see, because like, you know, reminiscing about how good the Mortal Kombat story used to be is, I really miss how the good storytelling Mortal Kombat used to have, and just feel like recent games have just kind of like shat on that kind of like history of Mortal Kombat, especially like during the 3D era. I feel like the 3D era was kind of the best storytelling in terms of like the world building that they were doing with Conquest mode, and then like the actual story with Liu Kang and like, you know, the other characters' growth. But anyways, yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm out. Peace.
Yeah.